Hi, this is Dr. Mark Sehl for the YouTube channel Therapy for the Heart. And this is the 80th talk on May. May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And last month we did a talk on April. April was Sexual Awareness Month, Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And so I have a few statistics. And statistics say something, and they also don't say enough about individuals who are suffering from lack of treatment, but they are alarming figures. That I have some of them here. May was, since 1949, has been Mental Health Awareness Month, and through reaching millions of people through the media and through local events and through talks like this. So it's important because there's a lot of stigma still around about people who have mental illness. It doesn't seem like there would be because this is the modern age. It's 2018, but there's still stigma, and we did a talk on not the stigma on either the YouTube videos or the podcast a while ago. You can find that. So 1 in 5 adults experience mental illness in a given year. 90% of people who die by suicide have an underlying mental illness. 10 to 24 suicide, from the ages of 10 to 24, suicide is a major cause of death, and 64% of children have major depression and receive little treatment. So major depression is also related to suicide. So what's happening with our children and not getting treatment, and also the awareness that they may have problems too. Less than half of adults with a mental health condition receive care. Less than half. 62% of college students have an overwhelming anxiety, up 50% from 5 years ago. You would think that it would be going the other direction. I think that's because there's so much stress. There has been for a long time on grades, even from toddlers at age 4, to try to get into certain schools. And if you don't get into that school, the parents worry because their child is not going to get an adequate education. From age 4, the stress on the parents, the anxiety, and also on the children is communicated to the children from the parents. So it's tremendous. And you know, how many people are going to look back when after you're done with your education and look and see what grade you got, you know, in 4th grade or 3rd grade? Right? You know, it's crazy, and it's making parents crazy, and then also causing them stress because of the expenses. Some private schools are not as good as some of the public schools, at least in New York City, and I've done some research on this. So it's not that don't go to a private school, but it's also don't disqualify public schools because you think that they're not educating our children. Sometimes they don't. But it depends upon a lot of variables. One in 5 children ages 3 to 17 have diagnosable mental, emotional, or behavioral problems. 1 in 5. Only 20% are diagnosed and receive treatment. 1 to 2% of children aged 2 to 5 are depressed and don't receive treatment. These are alarming numbers if we think about it, if you add them up. And with the cuts in mental health and the emphasis on, war budgets, and we've got the biggest war budget now, and since God knows how long, and then because of that, there's a cuts back in necessary services, medical and mental health services. The insurance rates keep going up, and it's a very tight squeeze for most citizens of the United States to try to cope with all these things, to get adequate care for their children, adequate mental health, to even take the time to recognize maybe they have a problem. It's so stressed out. You know, we have so many things to do in a given day. To care for ourselves and for our children. So the most important, what we can do is to try to get to take care of ourselves and not neglect our mental health needs. And this channel has always been devoted to children, particularly because if you look back since 2012, the focus has been in a great part on children, their development, what kind of crises families have, dealing with therapy for individuals and children, looking at autism and remarkable videos on autism. A couple of children had autism and wonderful interventions. One woman wrote and said that she, looking at our a video on autism really made her feel hopeful because of her autistic child. So we're being very helpful and getting the word out about a lot of things: couple therapy, individual psychotherapy, how to work with children, working with sexual abuse, working with the victims and the sexual abusers. We do a lot of work on Therapy for Heart since 2012. That's when we started the videos, and I hope to continue. But the focus on children has been very prominent. If you look back on the videos throughout since 2012, and also the podcasts that just have been invigorated by YouTube, Therapy for the Heart. Yes, there are podcasts. You just put Therapy in the Heart, Therapy for the Heart, into SoundCloud.com or iTunes, and you'll find a list of podcasts which follow along with the videos, although the podcasts were developed much later, about a year ago, but they repeat similar themes, and these are for people who want to listen, and the videos are there for people who want to watch. So I do hope that you think about yourself and what's troubling you. If we look internally, that's where we can go and find ourselves. The habit of people is not to look internally because it's difficult. You know, why do I want to sit and meditate and think about what's on my mind? You know why? Because if you don't, it's not going to go away. And most people bolt up and try to get away from meditation because disturbing thoughts will occur to them and they don't want to deal with them. So they might have a TV in the background or music in the background and anything to avoid. That's human nature. You want to avoid things that are painful, but pain doesn't go away. It becomes bigger. It lasts longer if you don't pay attention to it. You stick your head in the hand, the world in the sand. The world doesn't go away, and it's an old expression tried by truths. It's like it's very, very important to know that the world does not go away if you don't pay attention to it. It just stays there. Problems get bigger. Problems with families get larger. If people don't want to talk about problems in their families, they get larger, especially if there's problems with parents and the parents don't want to deal with those problems with themselves or with their children. Then the children they imitate that, and also they don't want to deal with things because they're told not to talk often because it's going to embarrass the family. If there's alcoholism, don't say anything to keep it quiet. Don't say anything in school. Or school where you can say something about counselors. You need to talk to them. If your parents are fighting all the time and they're disturbing your studies and they're alarming you because their fighting is making you anxious because maybe they could split up, and it would be your fault. That's how a child perceives a split up. It's my fault. I didn't do something right. I didn't do enough of my homework So our mental health is very important, to pay attention to it, to take care of ourselves, to take care of our children, and to get the whole family into therapy if need be, because family therapy can be very, very, very instrumental in preventing crises from expanding and also becoming overwhelming for families. So couple therapy is very important. If you're having difficulties, talk it out. Most couples don't want to deal with their vulnerability, like they don't want to say, well, I miss you, or you've been working so much, I don't get a chance to see you. It's very hard for people to be vulnerable with each other and say, I need you, I miss you. That makes you open, but if you don't say that, the real issues don't get addressed. So this is Dr. Mark Sehl for the YouTube channel Therapy for the Heart, and I'm going to sign off for now. We'll come back to this. But I did want to take a few moments because it is Mental Health Month, and it's important to note these things during this time and all times, but especially this month. Okay, so I'm signing off for now. thank you. Email me if you have any questions at marksehl@gmail.com. And if you like this talk, see if you can say that. You push the like up, the thumbs up or the thumbs down, and I keep a note of these, so see how many people are liking it or not liking it. And if you want to make a comment, you can, as long as it's appropriate. I'll publish it on Friends of Therapy for the Heart. That's the page under drmarksehl.com, and there's psychotherapy videos, and you can look up that list and you see the page where it says Friends of Therapy for the Heart, and a list of all the comments also by viewer comments that have been published by me. Okay, so thanks a lot again. I'm going to sign off now, and adios. Have a good day. Bye-bye.